We are ready. Hello, everyone. How are you today? Let's see. Today we are celebrating GuanYin Bodhisattva Dharma Assembly. We just did the Bumenpin, the Universal Door chapter. And first of all, I'd like to say that I'm impressed. Okay? It's been a while, but I'm finally impressed after 15 years. Our approach in cultivation is different from most places. My personal preference is to help build your concentration power first, your samadhi power. So that's what we focus on. We do whatever it takes to help you build your concentration power, okay? And it shows. When you attend a ceremony, why is concentration power important? Because concentration power is like your lifting power. The more your power you have, the more you can lift, meaning the more blessings you generate. Okay? So that's a key part to blessings generation. It's your concentration power. So that's why if you go to a place where the participants have a high level of concentration power, then the blessings generated will be very, very tremendous. And that's why you benefit a lot more from your attendance. Okay? So that's why finally I noticed that the concentration is really unrivaled. I'm very pleased. And I went to up north recently, and I noticed their focus of that group there is also pretty impressive. Okay, that's what interests me. I look at people's concentration power first before I pay attention to what they have to say. If idiots say whatever, I ignore them. But when people with concentration power, meaning that they have wisdom, then I pay attention to what they have to say. Okay? So, same thing. I go to a place, I see people do the ceremony, I look at concentration power, says, oh, it's a waste of my time to be here. I'm getting no blessings. I walk out. Okay? So finally, I can leave you alone, and I can move on in my career. Oh, you'll be fine. You will, earn your whatever people give you because your contribution is significant. So congratulations. I'm very happy about that. Okay? Good job. Keep it up. Keep improving. If you really want to do more, contribute more, ascend higher, you need to work a little bit harder. Okay? That's my interest, to help you improve more and more and more. Okay? For those of you who are interested. However, if I need to point out to you, is concentration power is the base. It's a very important part of our cultivation. But once you achieve concentration power, you need to have skills. Okay? Again, it's pretty impressive because the way that you chanted today is pretty good. It's very good, except for a few, a couple of minor things, if you will. Okay. I'd like to point out to you, at first, you still don't understand the importance of the delivery, the skills, the way you do it. You may have power, but if you don't do it right, it's not as effective. It doesn't generate as many blessings as you can. So you have to understand that the first part of this recitation, you say, Shi Wu Jin Yi Pu Sa. You have to slow down a little bit. It's too fast. Because it's designed for you to contemplate. Shi, meaning you contemplate at that time, Wu Jin Yi Pu Sa. So you see, it's slower. He hits it too fast. He hits it like you recite mantras. That's too fast. It's for you to contemplate what the words are saying. Okay? So slow down that part. Slow down about 20%. So it's way too fast for my taste. Okay? I can't contemplate. It's like I'm talking to someone instead of contemplating the words of the sutra. Okay? Second area where actually the music kind of cool. Okay? You go to the part where that's you did very well. Okay? Again, you chanted very well. One thing is that I don't know why men in this temple is so effeminate. They like something like that, and I said, "What? It's like when you listen to an opera. Do the men's side sing like women? Huh? Come on, sing like a man, more yang qi, huh? You hang around too many effeminate people, so." And the women are doing fine, okay? The women, there is a difference between yang and yin. When you are yang side, okay, men's side, or women's side, depending on where you are. In our temple, usually it's a women's side is yang, and men is like yin. So I don't care. You can choose to be yang, women's side, yin or men's side. It's perfectly okay with me, okay? I don't discriminate, okay? You all can become Buddhas. Okay? Whether you yang or yin, you all become Buddhas. When you girl and boys, I don't discriminate. As long as you become Buddhas quickly. Okay? That's all I care about. So that's why the women are yang. Okay? So like in our temple, so it's fine. You see, so you chant with power. Okay? Loud. And when the yin side, you chant like softer, a little bit softer, but more flexible. Okay? Yang is like you break. Okay? Yin is like a whip. Okay? It's more flexible. So that's what I noticed today. It's very good. It's very good. It's just the man is too yin. So in the future, can I suggest we do women first and men after? Okay? The only problem is that in San Jose, the men are very young and the women are yin. So if we do it, flip it around like that, we have problems in other branches. But anyway, you men have to be more yang. He said, I was so embarrassed. That's why I was a little bit louder than I was supposed to be. But no one picked it up. They one thought of master is trying to impress or stand out. No, I'm trying to remind them. But the whole time, they still chant like a cat, like a pussy cat. Anyway, so that's, and the rest is very, very nice. So the point being that you have samadhi power first, that's our thing, okay? People walk into the ceremony, they say, wow, this is it. This is help me concentrate. It helped me relax and get my mind off my worries, my schemingness. Okay, and that's what's supposed to happen. But then you need to improve on on the skills. Okay, and of course next you have a little bit have more class. Okay, don't be like those people. They behave like they're grad students. Their whole career as monk. I look at them. How come your teacher never taught you about class? Because we're international organization. You're going to go to many places. The one thing that doesn't change, that transcends culture, is what? Class. Okay? Have some class. All right. Any questions or comments? All right. Recently, someone told me that people on the internet started asking questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. So there's a question where people say, so someone says that the world is full of suffering, as the Buddha says. Okay, then should we bring in children at all? And why would you want to bring in children and make them suffer? And I thought it might be a good thing to discuss, given that we are talking about doing a GuanYin Dharma assembly. GuanYin is known as the Bodhisattva of compassion. Compassion, of great compassion. Great compassion is to be aware of others' suffering and take it as your own suffering. That's great compassion. Okay, it's being the same substance. They suffer, then we are also suffer. You just don't say that, oh, you poor, you are an immigrant, therefore you suffer because you deserve it. If you really have class, you really are a good person, okay, a decent person, whether you're Christian, Catholic, or Buddhist, or whatever, you should have more compassion in your heart. Okay, that's the direction of growth. The more you improve, the more compassionate you should become. Okay, I notice some of my students, they improve and they become a little bit more gung-ho, more full themselves. But that's temporary, trust me. Eventually, I will give them a good spanking and then remind them that for them to continue to improve, they need to develop more compassion. Okay? So what do you think? Why would we want to bring in children at all and make them suffer? Is there enough suffering in the world? All right, don't get so excited. Don't try to talk so many of you at the same time. Yes. Orange. Pink. Even better.
For the yin.
Yes. What would you like to say?
Master, to be born into a Buddhist family is probably a very great blessing. If we can bring children in and give them opportunity to improve spiritually and work toward becoming a Buddha.
Okay, so that's why you advocate bringing in children to the world?
Not for everybody, definitely not.
You don't want to bring children to the world? But that is the question. Why would you bring children to the world and make them suffer? You may be a Buddhist family, but Buddhist families seem to suffer more. Ask Guo Yin. Look at her family. So much suffering. Oh, she said, what? Give me the microphone.
Mô Phật và Thầy, mỗi người, mỗi cái gia đình rất là tốt đẹp, rất là có gia giáo, rất là có thực hành một cái ấy mà trong cái xã hội này nó quá xa phức tạp. Bây giờ con mình ở trong gia đình rất là tốt đi, nó ra ngoài xã hội đó, nó bị người ta lôi kéo rồi nó cũng hư. Là cái xã hội này đó phải điều chỉnh một cái xã hội này đó. Mình giống mình ở nước Mỹ này quá là sung sướng, quá là tốt đi, quá là đầy đủ đi. Mà tại sao mà những người đó ở trên xã hội này nó lôi kéo tới những người bây giờ mình đi lao thao thấy những người mà khổ sở đó nằm đầy đường hết đó. Đó mình thấy trong vòng 40 năm mà tùy qua tới đây cũng 40 năm rồi. Và 40 năm trước mình chưa thấy một người nào hết trơn ha. 40 năm sau mà thầy ơi đi ra sao lao thao coi. Những người mà đầy đường hết trơn đó. Mà nước Mỹ này đâu có khổ đâu, đâu có thiếu ăn thiếu mặc đâu. Tại sao mà nó đi vào con đường đó mà mình không. Mô Phật con coi như.
Okay.
Master, I think like this world is very complicated, and then people are full of suffering. Especially nowadays, you can see that a lot of people are out on the street. They are very, very suffering, and then even though you can teach them good inside the family, but then when they went outside and interact with people, they can be under bad influences. And then I see like the United States is not a poor country. We are not lack of food or anything, but then there are still a lot of people that full of suffering. So that's something I cannot understand.
So does she want to, she advocates bringing children to the world or not? She said she's against bringing children to the world. Her family is 95 of them. So she said, we have enough. What about her sister-in-law? Does she have an opinion? This woman in here used to be very talkative. She says, can I speak, please? I make my son drive me here. Can I just speak my mind, please?
Alo, Bố Phật Thầy, theo con nghĩ là cái này không phải mình muốn gì không muốn, không phải cái này cái bằng thiên nhiên tự nhiên, nhưng mà có thể mình đã tạo nó được, mình phải có trách nhiệm lo cho nó, phải giáo dục cho nó, tìm cách nào lo cho nó nên người, đừng có giống như trong cái xã hội làm bậy làm bạ trong cái xã hội, ảnh hưởng gia đình, ảnh hưởng cái xã hội, cái là rất là không tốt. Con chỉ mong muốn như vậy thôi. Mô Phật Thầy.
Master, in my opinion, it's not a matter of whether you want it or not, but it is more or less it's just happen naturally. Whether the baby just come naturally. But once you bring them to this world, then it's your responsibility to take care of them and raise them, teach them, be a good person and contribute to the society.
Typical Asian women, they taught the children come naturally. But to her credit, this lady here is very interesting because she keeps on stressing that she pays attention to guiding the children, raising the children properly, and she apparently did a good job. The whole family is really is very, very good people and very filial. So it's very good. So in that case, then she says, I don't have a choice because the children come naturally. So it's important to do a good job raising them, okay, to be good people, okay? Anyone else? Billy, what do you feel?
Morning, Master. At my age right now, I don't know how I felt. But,
How old are you?
Almost 50.
Almost 50. That's old.
I know. So I was from the past. I was thinking I probably kind of carry on with no family, But one day I was decided, I pray GuanYin and Buddha that I try to
You
settle
wanted
down.
a girl?
Yeah, have a family.
Good answer.
So it just
It's
recently.
a trick question.
Yeah,
If you
I
said,
pray
no, I
and-
wanted a boy, you're going to be in trouble. He
And
has
it-
2 daughters.
And it just popped up she was saying
Like naturally, right? It just
naturally,
pop
yeah,
out.
naturally. So it just popped up right here in my life, and I have 2 daughters. So.
Yeah. Chao people. They all believe that children happen naturally. Okay. First of all, sometimes you have no control. Children come because for various reasons. Could be scientific, could be natural, could be mistakes. But it's not something we can control. Birth and death occur naturally without us being able to do much about it. Okay? If the reason that children are born because they're born, because they're supposed to come here, they're karmic forces that bring them to the world, and we may be part of the condition that bring them to the world. Okay? So the question has many aspects. That's why we couldn't answer it in a simple question. It has to be enough time to discuss it, make sure we clarify the point. One point is that you quite often don't have control. Children come because they're supposed to come. For example, typically children come because we owe them. We have to raise them, feed them, change diapers, and so forth. Okay? So that's because we owe them. And then we have to raise them until they become mature. And even in the U.S., we're supposed to hopefully pay for their college education. So that means that we owe them. Okay? So they're here to collect. Some of them, like some of her children, came because they need to pay her. Okay? Drive her around. Okay? And give her their paychecks. Okay? And clearly, they owe her. So you see, so they come with various reasons. So you really don't have as much control as we think. Okay. Point number two, is that the world is it real suffering or not? Absolutely. This is the Buddha's words, not my words. The Buddha says, this is a world. This entire world is a world where people come to suffer, like it or not. Okay? Some people clearly are suffering because there's something called suffering. That's suffering within suffering. Okay? Meaning you feel bad already, and then it gets worse. It doesn't get better. Okay? The suffering within suffering. In particular, we during the pandemic, we don't have a job. We lost our job. That's suffering. And then all of a sudden, our favorite restaurant also closed down. That's suffering within suffering. That's unbearable for some people. Okay? And so another type of suffering that the Buddha talked about is suffering of decay, meaning that the first suffering is for people who are poor, who are lacking in things. The second side of suffering is suffering for the people who have things. For example, they have a job, okay? And then because of the pandemic, they lost their job. They got laid off. That's a suffering of change, okay? Or some people who are wealthy and they got divorced, so they have to split their assets by half, okay? Or a big portion of it. So that's suffering of decay, meaning you have it, now you lose it. And for a lot of people who are not used to suffering, they can't take it. It's just unbearable for them. The concept of suffering is that it's very hard to bear for us. And it varies, of course. Each person's level of forbearance is different. Okay? So, but the point is that each one of us individually feels is suffering. We're suffering. Okay? So that's the nature of existence in our Sahara world. Okay? The non-Buddhists choose to deny that. They said, no, it's not suffering. I'm happy, I have money, and so forth. But they still may not be poor. They still may not have a suffering of a decay. They still are rich, and so forth. Still have a family. But they cannot avoid the third kind of suffering that's universal. Okay? That is suffering of change. A suffering of process. Meaning that your body, your mind, your body is dying slowly. Your mind is constantly running. You cannot stop it. Anyone can stop your mind? Raise your hand, please. You can say stopping your mind meaning you can stop your thoughts. Okay? How many people can do that? Okay? Normal people cannot do that, and that's a form of suffering. We cannot stop our thoughts. All right? And because of that, it accelerates our decay. It accelerates our death, our dying. Okay? The more you think, the quicker you die. You didn't know that, did you? It's like an engine. Thinking is like leaving your car engine on all the time. That's what we do. That's why at night we need to pass out so that the mind stops thinking, so that we can have some rest. But during the day, we can't stop. And that's suffering. A suffering, a process. Nothing at all, no one can avoid it. Okay? So the truth of life is that in the Sahara world, we're suffering. Okay? You can deny it all you want, but the fact is that we're suffering. Okay? So yes, it's a life of suffering. So that the point is I agree with the point. Yes, it's a world of suffering. It's a life of suffering. Why would we want to bring children to the world and make them suffer? I said sometimes you can't help it. Okay? So you don't have as much control as you think. Okay? Children come because they have because they're supposed to come. Okay? Now, so the question is whether, since we can't avoid it, and then the question should be that now they're here, and when they're here, and what do we do? Okay, and this is where most cultures fail, in that they are not taking the education and the raising of children seriously enough. Okay, and that's a failure from the parents' parts. Okay, that's why I respect Xiang a lot, because she said, "My children are here. I will make sure I raise them properly, teach them the right things. Okay, try my best to teach them and guide them." And that should be the proper attitude for people, not just her own children, though. What I fault her is that she only looks at her own children. Okay, you should open your heart and look at all the children in the world, all other people's children as well. Okay, we should help them, raise them, okay, and guide them properly, because whether they are our children or not, they're all suffering. Okay, have some compassion, like this Bodhisattva GuanYin. Okay, she looks at us and she says, "You're all suffering so much, whether you're aware of it or not. You're suffering." And that's why, what does she do? She says, "I'm here. When you can't take it anymore." Yes, in our world, we're suffering, but we can take it. Okay? We still go to work. We still make more babies. Okay? But when you reach a point where you can't take it anymore, I'm here. I will give you relief. Okay? And that's the attitude we should adopt. It's an attitude of great compassion. Yes, it's suffering, not only for ourselves, but let's forget about ourselves for a moment and try to help the children, our children, others' children. Okay? And if you have real samadhi power, you have more strength and help more people. Don't just help children, but help their parents, the grandparents. And that's the spirit of GuanYin Bodhisattva. So today we got together to remind ourselves, okay, the meaning of life. Yes, it's suffering, but don't let it get us down, because we realize the fact of the matter is we all suffering, and that's why to counter that, we need to have a mind of great compassion and contribute to the world to provide relief to suffering in what ways we can, instead of destroying it, instead of doing things to only benefit ourselves. That kind of selfishness, the selfishness of evil, okay? It's not worthy of you. It's not worthy of us. We may be poor. We may be insignificant. We may be obscure. We may amount to beings, okay? Maybe people will never give us the time of day, but we have our dignity. We have our beliefs that we should help others the best way we can. How? By eliminating our suffering first. Okay? You help others by stopping your suffering. Because then, after that, you really are able, can help others. Because until you're able to stop your suffering, okay, whatever you do will spread the suffering all around you. Okay? And that goes back to the theme today and why we do this, because we cultivate in order to end our suffering, to make a difference to the world. In our humble ways, in our low-key ways. Okay? Questions or comments? YouTube. Yes.
So first comment from Kenny KK. He says, we bring children to let them have a chance to plant the seed of enlightenment and help them go to the Pure Land.
Absolutely. There are many ways to help them, okay, the children. Yes, you acquire the wisdom and guide them to help them end the suffering. And in Buddhism, I'm glad he brought it out. I'm grateful for that. In Buddhism, we have many ways to help the children and the people who suffer end the suffering. Many, many ways. Even though we cannot end our own suffering, in Buddhism, we can do a lot more than that. Okay? That there are means, there are ways for you to help other people end suffering before you end your own, with how you have to end your own suffering. Okay? So absolutely. And one of which is to help them go to the Pure Land. Okay? Where they will never suffer again. Ever. And that's great compassion right there. The ultimate compassion of Amitabha Buddha, where he created a world called Western Bliss Pure Land, where you go there, you never suffer again. Ever. All right? So, absolutely. Is there another comment?
Yes, there is another comment from Emily. She says, as a parent myself, I would highly suggest against having children, especially bringing up in this world. Although I do wonder about when someone feels strongly about having children, then it could be because they subconsciously feel that they owe somebody.
No, I don't have children, but I like children every now and then. So I advocate people should have children so that I can play with them every now and then. Emily, you know, when the more you cultivate, the more you realize that children are wonderful. I used to hate children. It's the truth. I refused to have children when I was married. Okay? And now I look at people who have children. Some of them are unbearable. Some are pretty nice. So as I get older, I change. I feel that having children is a wonderful thing nowadays, as long as they're not mine. But that will change, hopefully. Okay, I feel a lot of parents I talk to, and they don't regret it. To me, to see the love of a mother has for her children, that's so wonderful. It's a very special feeling that I feel that I can only imagine that it will be worth it for the parents to say, after all the heartaches and all the struggles and all the fights with the husbands, it's worth it, until you see how your children turn out, maybe not. Okay, but this is what I think eventually, as you cultivate more, I think someday Emily will feel this love that's pervasive in her heart. Okay, the love as more you cultivate, the stronger your love becomes. I'm not talking about the love that Apple's friend, the Catholic guy, talks about. Okay, I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm going to talk about the love here, the Buddhist love, where that love is so strong, and that love is a form of compassion. It's not the emotional love or sensual love that's most Catholics define as a happiness, requirement of the happiness. This love here is very pure. It's it has all the wonders of existence. Okay, it has the love of emotions, the love of the body, the love of the intellect, the love of the heart, and the love of the Buddha nature. That love, the more you cultivate, the more you discover that love. It's wonderful. Okay, so you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be afraid of love or reject it. Okay, you evolve. And it's wonderful, wonderful. So that then when you begin to see that, experience that, you look at your own children and say, oh my God, it's so wonderful. Thank you, Lord, for the chance. So that's what I find fascinating about cultivation. The more you improve, the more your heart is filled with that Buddhist love, not Catholic. Sorry, because the Catholics are confused about love. We are not. Hey, there's no Catholic today, so we're safe, right? If there's a Catholic today, I will speak differently, trust me. I'm very wishy-washy. Yes?
How do you know if the Catholics are not online? But I have a question, Master.
No, I don't know. I hope the Catholic online are forgiving and love me for what I say.
Is there a difference between the love of an arhat and the love of a bodhisattva?
Yes, there's a difference. Arhats have no love. That's people like Emily, for example. Next, she's close arhatship probably. That's why he says, I don't love children. Don't bring them to the world. But when you go beyond arhats, that's when you develop this something called compassionate love. And it evolves and morphs into something called, anyone else? Wonderful love. Love the Catholic have. Okay. Can we be honest with each other? Okay. The love the Catholic call love, what the Catholic call love, is actually possessiveness. Think about it. They love themselves. Huh? They say, I love my wife, but as soon as the wife says, I'm interested in someone else, he says, I'll stop loving you. See? Because the wife no longer serves his purpose. Or girlfriend, or boyfriend. Yes? Am I too, I'm being too controversial? Yeah, I am, okay. Well, let's leave it to politics then. Okay? So that's what happens to the people of the world. Worldly love is very, very selfish. Actually, when they call love, exactly they call love, that love is self-love. He says, I love my wife because I'm happy. It makes me happy. Okay? Yes, Catholic person.
Excuse me? My mom might be very upset, She said my daughter's born Buddhist. And she's present, I believe, in the environment. Mm-hmm. So what about the love of mother to children, the love to your pets, and the love of children to mother? Would you call those love selfish, or they are wonderful, like the Bodhisattva love?
What do you think? That's a good question. Children who love the mother, is it selfish? Mother who loves your children, is it selfish? Ask that old woman there. Ask that woman. When you love your children, you feel you're being selfish. Huh?
Mô Phật Thầy, con nghĩ là không có ích kỷ đâu.
She says, I'm not selfish.
Mẹ thương con là kêu bằng.
I said, I love my children. How can I be selfish? Okay.
Nhà con cái thương mẹ, con không có ích kỷ đâu.
Record that. I love my children. I'm not selfish. And when my children love me, they're not selfish. She's very absolutely sure about that. Okay? I don't care what you say, she says. Okay, the rest of you. Is it selfish? A child loving your mother, her mother, is it selfish?
Theo con nghĩ Thầy ơi, mình làm người mẹ, mình phải làm cái gương cho con nó biết, nó coi. Vậy thì mình thương nó thiệt tình, mình lo nó chu đáo thiệt tình, tức dưng nó không có bỏ mình đâu, nó phải lo mình cho lợi cho mình. Là nó là thiên nhiên, chuyện thiên nhiên. I rest
my case. She shot herself in the foot. Did you hear that? You got to learn Vietnamese. This woman is very opinionated. And it's not fair to translate it.
She said that basically if you take care of your children wholeheartedly, you really, really love them, and of course they will love you back, and then they will take care of you in return.
Will never desert you. That's her fear, biggest fear. Right there. So she loves her children because she expects them to love her back. That love is selfishness. Chichao people are so selfish. It's selfish love. The definition of selfish love is that as long as you still have a self. whatever you do is selfish. That's why in Buddhism, before we talk about love, someone else, loving someone else, we have to stop the self first. Then becomes true love. Can evolve to true love. Okay? As long as they have a self, whatever you do is self-serving. Everything you do, anything you do is self-serving. Oh boy, we're not be able to get out of here right now. Yes, Pink.
Good morning, Master. So are you saying that there is no love until you become enlightened? Because you can't, until you become enlightened, then you get rid of yourself. But until then, you have selfish love.
Yes, you're scheming. I'm sorry. Whatever you do, if you still have a self, you're scheming to benefit yourself. Make sure you have prenuptial. Okay? It's just the way it is. As long as you still have an ego, a self, that self there one day would love you to death. Is willing to die for you. Okay? And then one day, for no obvious reasons, it flips. It says, no, I hate you. And you are my arch enemy. I will die before I do anything for you. I will make you pay. And it's totally unpredictable. Okay? That's why until you get rid of the self, the love that people talk about is undependable and it's selfish love. That love is to serve the ego only. That's from a Buddhist perspective. Okay? So that's why in Buddhism, if you really want to, you really want to love someone, put an end to the ego. That love can then have a chance to evolve to something that's really true love, wonderful love, what I call wonderful love. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's take a break. And then 5-minute break, because today we need to do a lengthened light transference. Master Xian, Xian. Huh? Okay. Very good. Thank you.